Okay, today we're going to be learning the QAR strategy. And the QAR strategy stands for question-answer relationship. Question-answer relationship is a great strategy to apply, especially when you're dealing with comprehension questions. We're about 6 weeks out before FSA reading, and by utilizing this strategy, it will help you not only on your standardized test, but it'll also help you when we're writing our essential questions, where we're answering short responses, or even when you write an essay. Go ahead and click next. So, what is QAR? I just told you. It stands for question-answer relationship. And this is a strategy that we use to figure out different types of comprehension questions and how to best answer them. Okay? So that's one of your first notes that you want to be jotting down right now. QAR, you can write that however, bless you, that you need to. QAR stands for question-answer relationship. QAR. Okay, are we ready to move on?
This is the strategy.
You don't have to write all that. Remember what I told you about taking notes. You take only what you need. Take only what you need. When you write everything verbatim, you waste your time. So you want to take what's important and then you want to move on. So it helps to figure out different types of comprehension questions, period, and how to best answer them. Okay, can we move on? Go ahead, hit the next slide. So there are 4 types of questions, okay? 4 types of questions that fall into 2 categories. We have our in-the-book questions, and then we also have the in-my-head questions, okay? 4 types. So we'll discuss the in-the-book questions first. We have 2, right there and think and search. Right there questions are those questions that are easily found in the text, which require you to go back and reread or skim or scan the text. The answer is easily found in the text. The exact words for the questions and answers are located in the same sentence. So think about when I give you comprehension questions and they're in that middle box and I say refer back or look at line 15. What did it state about Lincoln, for example, with Gettysburg Address? What did it state about Lincoln's, why did Lincoln use this term or something along those lines? It's always something you can refer back to in that specific part of the text, okay? Questions about right there questions. These are perhaps the easiest types of questions because you can go right there into the text. The next type of in-the-book questions are the think and search questions. The answer is in the text, but requires gathering information from different places in the selection. Okay, so it might not be in the same line in the first paragraph. You might have to go to several parts of your text, your essay, your passage, in order to collect this information. So you have to think about it, and then you need to go and search the text to find that information. So far, are there any questions with in the book or in the text questions? No? Okay, perfect. So now we're going to move on to the in-my-head questions. Remember when I showed you guys what our class looks like as far as read theory? The 3 categories of the Common Core standards that read theory assesses? Do we remember that?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so remember I said that those text-dependent questions, those are the easiest ones, and everybody does really, really good with those all across the board. And then we talked about like having to infer or having to draw on our own knowledge, like that integration of knowledge, and that was a skill that was particularly low all across the board. Ms. Barr, wake up, thank you. Those are the same thing with in-my-head questions, okay? So first we have the author in you or the author in me questions. The answer is not in the text. However, the reader combines their previous knowledge with textual information to create a response. So you're drawing on what you already know, things that you've already read in the past, and you're connecting it with what you are reading. The next one is on my own. These are on our own in-my-head questions. The answer is not in the text. but the reader uses previous experience to respond, 100%, okay? Are there any questions about the 4 types of questions? How many of you guys are familiar with QAR? Okay, so some people. Okay, good. Go ahead and hit the next slide, please. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you an example. It's the itsy bitsy spider. Everybody knows, well not everybody, but most American children have learned the itsy bitsy spider, typically in song format and not necessarily written out like a little mini piece of text. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the itsy bitsy spider for you, and then we're going to go into some QAR questions. The itsy bitsy spider. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. Okay? Pretty simple, right? So now let's go ahead and look at some QAR questions. You want to go ahead and switch the slide. So what I did is I created some QAR questions that are based on our 4 types of questions. Okay? I did 2 in the book questions and 2 in my head questions. The first question is, who went up the water spout? Right? So naturally, this is like a really easy one. It was the itsy bitsy spider. The second one was to explain why the spider got washed out of the spout. Down came the rain. Really, really easy. The next one, the in my head questions. Do you think that the spider gave up easily?
No, he went up the spout again.
Right, because he went up the spout again. And then lastly, has there ever been a time when you felt like giving up because something happened that took you off track? Yes, right? So do you see how we started with our first question, one of our in the book questions, and what did we say that our in the book, the first type of in the book question was?
Right there.
Right there. Very good. How about explain why the spider got washed out of the spout? A think and search. Very good. And then my question here, do you think the spider gave up easily? Author and you or author and me. And then lastly, has there ever been a time when you felt like giving up because something happened? On my own. Go ahead and hit the slide.
Should have switched it up.
So obviously like the first one's gonna be super, super easy, but then as we go on, it's going to get more challenging. So these are my responses, and you guys basically kind of went ahead and hit it right on the nail for me. And I gave an example down here about how going to school is probably one that we can all identify with being really, really difficult. And sometimes bad grades or just not necessarily understanding the content can really easily throw you off track. Okay, so itsy bitsy spider, super easy. Let's go ahead and move into something else. You can hit the next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to do the odd spider together. Can I get a volunteer to read for me, please? Go ahead, Ms. Barr.
Most spiders live on land, but this spider is different. It spends most of its time underwater. How does it breathe? It breathes by making a tank full of air bubbles underwater. First, it spins a web in the shape of a bell. Then it visits the web to clean under the water. Next, it swims up to the top of the water and traps a tiny bubble of air. Then it sits nice and snug in its web and feeds on tiny fish and underwater animals.
Very good. Thank you. Go ahead and hit the next slide, please. Okay, so what I went ahead and did is I created Think and Search, Author and Me, on my own, and write their questions for each of these. Okay? So the first question was, how does the spider breathe?
It made bubbles underwater.
Okay. It makes air bubbles, right? Simple. How does the shape of the web help the spider?
It catches
It catches the air and does what with it?
trap it.
It traps it. How does the shape? So what was the shape specifically? The shape of a bell. Okay? Very good. So the shape of the bell, how does it specifically help the spider to breathe? So I'm not a great drawer, and so I'm going to pretend that this is my bell, right? You guys know that this is a bell? Yes. Yeah, bell. And then it has this little thing here, so you shake it, yeah? Bell. Okay. Where do you think the spider kind of nestles himself in this little drawing here?
Inside.
Okay, so you think he stays down here
Yeah.
to grab the air, or you think he's going up here?
I'm going up there.
Okay, so he stays up here, but he'll travel down to go and get the air. No? He stays at the bottom.
Stays at the bottom and it goes up.
I think the bell bottom.
Oh, so he stays at the bottom most of the time, but then he travels up to get the air. Remember, he's underwater though.
Yeah, you gotta travel up to get there.
Okay.
Oh,
The
yeah,
web,
yeah.
The web?
Yeah, like, the web can like travel, like the air bubble.
Okay, so he uses the web to travel up the air bubbles. So help me to rephrase, or help me to get a solid or a clear answer with how does the shape of the web help the spider? How does the shape of the web help the spider? Yes, sir.
Is that kind of attraction there, while the bottom is kind of like, so the water can travel that way.
Okay. Okay, that works as the answer. Now let's move on to the in my head questions. It says, why would the spider attach the web to a plant under the water?
So,
So it doesn't move away, so it doesn't get off track. Very good. Now lastly, what makes the spider unusual or different from other spiders?
It's underwater. Like, most spiders are
most spiders are
Right, so most spiders live underwater, on land, and this spider lives underwater. That's one example. What's another
They
example?
eat fish.
It eats it.
Okay, it eats fish. I don't really know. It creates air bubbles so that it can go and live underwater, or so it can breathe
It makes the
underwater.
web the shape of a bell.
Excuse me?
It makes the web.
And it makes the web under the shape of a bell. Okay, so those are 4 of our great examples. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and move into our next stage. I went ahead and I passed out the match QAR practice worksheets. You're going to work with your paired partner. There are 6 questions here. You want to go that way? There are 6 questions here. I'm going to give you approximately 4 minutes. And in the 4 minutes, what you will do is you will, one, move your desks together so you can actually work. And you guys will be determining, based off of the question, what type of question it is. Is it a think and search? Is it a right there question? So forth and so on. And then you'll also provide a rationale or an explanation of why you chose that specific QAR response. Do we have any questions? Do you guys want me to leave this up here for you? Yes? Okay. I'll go back so that you can actually just see the 4 different types of QAR questions. Who did I take this from? Yeah? Okay. So right now you want to go ahead and put your desks together. So what is the first thing that you need to do? You have to read, right? Right? You're being asked, but it's not as easy for you to be able to explain why it's a think and search question or why it is a certain type of question over another. Okay, so our time is up. How are we doing? Was everybody able to determine, just in general, 1 through 6, what type of question each question was? Yes? Okay, how about the rationale? Or 2? 2 explanations? Explain why. Your paper is blank here. The explanation. How many people completed that? That's what I'm talking about. 1. How many people completed one of the explanations? Okay. 2, 3, 4 explanations. 5, 6. Okay, I'll go ahead and give you 1 additional minute. Sorry, 2 additional minutes for you to continue to work through that so we can actually talk about what's happening. Guys, remember, it's 2 of you guys working on the same task, so you want to encourage each other. Especially for those of you guys that I provided those session starters. Think about the question and what you're being asked. You said that was a think and search. Okay, that's fine. Why do you think this is the QAR? Why do you think that it's a think and search question? Why should you be sure the match is cool before you throw it away? Does it tell you anything about that here? Be sure it's cool before you throw it away. So that's an author. Okay. Why should you be sure? Now, why do you need to make sure? Is that an author in me, or is that a think and search? Do you have to add to that? So what type of question would that make it? It's an author in me question, right? Why is it an author in me question? You have to look for it.
Like add my own.
Right, you have to add your own thinking or your own past experience. Why? So why is it that if you don't blow this out and you put it in the garbage, what might happen or what could happen? It can cause a fire. That part came from you, not from the author. So that's your reason. Okay? Same thing. It's right there because what? Be sure the match is cool before you throw it away. Excuse me? Think about it. It's right here. Finally, after the match has been used, blow it out carefully and be sure it's cool before you throw it away. Why do you need to make sure that a match is cool before you throw it away? Okay, so did the author tell you that? No. He just said to make sure it's cool before you throw it away. How do you know about the catching on fire part? Right. It's not 100%. It is a on my own question, but what specifically type of on my own question is it? I'm sorry. It's not 100% on your own, right? It's an author in me. Author gave you something, you also have to contribute something to that. So you want to change it. Okay. How was it, Ms. Marshall? Good? Okay, so I'm seeing some varied things right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's review. We have our QAR practice lighting a match. Can someone go ahead and please read for me the beginning portion? Go ahead. You want to turn around for me?
The match book. Second, close the match book cover. Third, strike the match against the rough strip on the outside of the match book. Finally, after the match has been used, blow it out carefully and be sure it is cool before you throw it away.
Very good. Thank you, Diamond. Mr. James, I need you to pick your head up. Thank you. So, the directions state, read the questions below and decide which QAR each question shows. Number 1, I need a volunteer to go ahead and read that for me and give me your response. Go ahead, Ms. Marshall.
What is the first step to raising that image? Right there.
This is a right there question. Why was it a right there question, Uncle Alexis?
Because it's right there in the text.
Okay, because it can be found specifically right there in the text that just went out. Number 2, you didn't have that, you want to go ahead and place right there. And then you want to make sure you state explicitly that your answer or your response can be found right there in the text. Number 2. Someone to read number 2, please. Go ahead, tonight.
Why should you be sure the match is cool before you go away? That's an author in me question.
That's an author and me question. Why is it considered an author and me question?
Because I just do my own right with passage to figure out the question.
So you had to do what, I'm sorry?
To create my own right with passage to figure out that's the question.
Okay, so you took a little bit of what was there, right? And then you had to extend and use some of your own prior knowledge to answer the question. Very good. Number 3, Ricardo.
What should you do after the match has been used and it's still burning? I put it right there.
It's a right there question. If you go back into the text, it tells you what you should do. And what does it say in the text that you should do after a match has been used and it's still burning?
Blow it out.
Blow it out carefully. And you said that was a right there question, right? And obviously it's a right there question because it can be found right there in the text. Number 4. Someone, go ahead, Cedric.
Should you close the cover before striking the match?
Why should you close the cover before striking the match?
On your own.
Okay, so we have think and search and then we have on my own as well. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the think and search. Why would this be considered potentially a think and search question? Why would you say that it's a think and search?
Because it tells you to do it in the text, but it don't tell you why.
Okay, so because it tells you to do it in the text, but it doesn't tell you why or doesn't give you an explanation. And then for those of you guys who are saying on my own, why are you saying it's an on my own question?
Because you already know that you gotta do
Yeah,
that.
you have to go along, like, if the other matches keep catching fire before you like.
So you're saying that in order for you to light a match, right? You have, let's pretend that this is the matchbook. I would have to, here's my matchbook, I just took my match out, I close it. I need to close it in order to strike my match?
No, you don't want you to catch the other ones on fire.
It doesn't want you to catch all the other ones on fire, even if the little strip is on the backside? Whether it's open or it's not open, will it impact it?
No.
No, right? Because they're opposite sides. So the matches are in here, the little strip where you strike it is on the backside. But why would it make good sense for you to close it?
Because you might make a mistake and drop it.
Okay.
If you drop it in there, the whole thing won't catch on fire.
Not necessarily. So it's a safety measure. Take the hood off, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So to be safe, what's another reason? Guys, think about the
They
grip,
don't fall out.
right? So I have this matchbook, I need to hold it, right? So if it's open, I'm not able to hold it hard enough or grip it tight enough in order to strike it. So, excuse me?
I thought that was after you strike it.
Before you strike it. So, is this a think and search? Is this an author and me? Is this an on my own? This is a think and search, you said?
On my own.
This is an author and me. Okay? That was number 4. Bless you. You need to watch your mouth. Number 5. Go ahead, Jean Baptiste.
Why do you strike the match to light it?
Okay?
It's right there.
So right there. Okay? And what does it say right there in the text?
It says, strike the match against the rough strip on the outside of the matchbook.
Okay, it says to strike the match against the rough strip on the outside of the matchbook. Very good. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Okay. Who says no? Nobody? Okay. Number 6. Somebody. I want someone other than Navarro, other than Jannard, other than Jean Baptiste. Miss Mars, help me out with number 6. What does number 6 say?
Create a short children's story about how to avoid the dangers of playing with matches.
Very good. And what kind of question is that? On my own. Why is it considered an on my own question? Excuse me?
It doesn't tell you the dangers of playing with matches. It just tell you how to.
Right, so now you need to take what you read.
General knowledge.
Right, you need to take some of your general knowledge and go ahead and move into your next, into the next process or the next phase of now creating a book where you teach children the safety measures of using or not using. You can say is really beneficial to you about using the QAR strategy. What's one benefit of using this QAR strategy that you came across today? So this is like an author and me type of thing, teacher and me type of question. What was one benefit of using this QAR strategy today?
It helps you to better understand the question.
Okay, so it helps you to better understand the question. What else was it able to do for you, Wesley?
Well,
You don't know what the QAR strategy was able to do for you?
to help me figure out my answer.
Okay, so it helped you to figure out an answer or a potential answer, Navarro? I remember reading that, but I wasn't totally sure. Let me go back and see if that was something that the author actually said or if that was something that I picked up or I kind of formed an idea about in my opinion. What else do you think that the QAR strategy may be beneficial for? Kevon. Why else do you think the QAR strategy may benefit you? Go ahead, Mike. Right, Uncle Alexis said that. What's another reason? Think about when you're under pressure and you have 90 minutes and you have to answer 86 questions on your FSA for the first session. Don't you think it's gonna help for you to understand what type of question you're being asked? Don't you think that this, you only get like one piece of scrap paper. Don't you think it might make sense if, obviously you're not going to be able to write 1 through 86 on here, in your time period and determine, but as you go and you scan your questions, you'll be able to figure out, is this an author and me question? Is this a on my own question? Is this a text dependent question? And so this is one of those strategies that you'll take with you, not only in your reading class, not only in English 1, you take it to biology, you take it to physical science, you can take it to, what else do you guys take? Freshman experience, world history, because you're always being asked to do something. So you want to make it a conscious measure to first, before you even think about what is the possible answer, you want to first be able to decide or to figure out what is, wake up sir, what is this person asking me to do, or what is this question specifically asking me to do? Any questions? Any concerns? Perfect, I have some more for you so that you can get your extra practice in. Are you sucking your teeth at me? I would hope not. Okay? So you want to make sure your name, date, and class period is on there. I think at this time, everybody should have been able, even if you did not originally come up with the rationale or the response, you should have been able to gather something based off of what we discussed together in class. Okay? And so that concludes the end of our lesson. We're going to go ahead and break up into our small groups.